The new season is just around the corner. Are you ready for the next year of rugby league in Coventry? We are. We're the world's greatest podcast about the Coventry Bears. We are Bear Necessities. Yes, welcome to Bear Necessities, the world's greatest podcast about the Coventry Bears. We're sponsored by the Bears Vice Presidents and by York's Tim. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts and Spotify. We're at CovBears Podcast on Twitter and we live at covbearspodcast.com. I'm one of your hosts, Dave Musson. It's the first time in a long time I've done that intro. And joining me as always is my co-pilot and former Bears fullback, Craig Cathcart. Craig, how are you enjoying the off-season?
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it, since we've spoken. I'm quite enjoying the rest and relaxation and getting a bit of time back at the weekends, but equally I am getting to the stage where I'm very much missing the rugby league season, and it's only a matter of weeks away now before it properly starts.
It really is. So this is something of a special off-season episode for you, as there's quite frankly loads of Bears news to update you on, with the club now in pre-season training. And in fact, we're actually sat in my car outside the Toe-to-Toe gym in Coventry, where the guys are currently doing a pre-season training session. It looks a mixture of fun and hell, to be honest.
Yeah.
We've done some video for the club's official social media channel, so that'll be going up at some point soon. It might already be up by the time this podcast goes out. But Craig, I mean, that looked like a lot of hard work. How does that compare to when you were doing pre-season, back when you were playing?
Yeah, I think it's the one thing players absolutely dread is pre-season, going back after a few weeks off. And not only that, because pre-season is usually the most boring thing that you're going to do. Usually they set up some pyramids or shuttle runs on a field and you go backwards and forwards and round and usually puke your guts up, and but the lads don't really never really enjoy it. It's usually boring. In there though, they're doing such a wide variety of different things, and they're really working on their strength and core conditioning and everything else. So looks really interesting. The lads didn't necessarily look like they were enjoying it while they were doing it, but I have heard a lot of really good feedback. They've really enjoyed it so far.
And they'll definitely feel the benefits as the season starts and progresses. So on the agenda for this show, we've got new signings, re-signings, fixtures, and a couple of interviews too, but we'll get to all of that in a minute. First, got some plugging to do. So a quick plug to snap up your 2019 season ticket right now. Head over to coventrybears.com/season tickets. If you haven't seen already, they're £105 for adults, £95 concessions, and £35 for 12 to 16 year olds. And with your ticket, you get entry to all home Betfred League One matches, any home cup games that might occur, any home pre-season games, more of which later, free parking to games and access to the members bar at matches as well. Also a plug for the 2019 season launch campaign that Craig and I worked on with the club. You may have seen it's the #ForTheNext video and campaign. It's gone down really well so far, so do a big thank you to all of you lot for watching it and sharing it. And lastly, assuming you're listening to this episode in December, which most of you will, do be sure to check out the advent calendar that we've created for the Bears social media channels as well. Everything on there is tagged #AdventBears. There's some fun stuff to get your teeth into, and get you excited about Christmas. Right, so Craig, for the running order for this show, we're just going to do it right here, right now. So what I want you to do is I want you to give me a number between 1 and 5, and we'll go to that bit of the show and we'll go through until we've done all 5 numbers.
Let's start with number 1.
Number 1. Okay, now number 1 is an interview that I conducted recently with Bears CEO Alan Robinson. We reflected on the 2018 season. We looked ahead to 2019. It's always fantastic to have Boomer on the show. And this is what he had to say when we sat in his car in the Butts Park Arena car park on a Friday lunchtime in mid-November. So Alan, welcome back to the podcast. It's good to sit down and chat with you. Season's been done and dusted for a few weeks. Now you've had time to decompress and reflect on 2018, 20th anniversary season. So much good stuff. What do you make of it? What's going to be your abiding memory of the 2018 season?
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Yeah, It's been a great year. I think there's so many highlights and so many positives that have come off the back of some of the games we've played and the events that we've done. And obviously the Leeds game at the start of the year really sticks out in my mind. And what we achieved there was a first for the club and something I think I'll always remember. And then, we had a bit of a tough run in the league, but in the Challenge Cup run that we had is probably another big highlight. Getting to the 5th round and playing Widnes, up there, and we had a lot of great PR off the back of that for the club, and a lot of people said a lot of nice things, and those sorts of things do give you confidence and that you're doing the right stuff and that you're developing the club and the business in the right way, and then kicking forward into the summer, there's more highlights again. Obviously the game against Keighley and then the last game against Hunslet, where we had some good wins, and really overall you got to look at it as an overall year, and it's been a great year as an anniversary year for the club, and a lot of young players. With the youngest squad in the league, I believe. So for the fact that we've sort of trusted in that and trusted in younger players and the Midlands-based players has paid off. And I think most of all, that's probably the most rewarding thing for us as a club and a group. I speak to Tom and obviously the coaches every day, and I think that's been something we've been really proud of. And we're just looking forward to what next year holds now.
And how much those wins against Keighley and Hunslet in particular, how big are they in terms of the history of the club and the ongoing story of this club? Because they were, particularly Keighley, significant moments, weren't they?
Yeah, it was really emotional for me personally. No disrespect to Keighley, they've been going through some tough times recently, but for us to defeat a club that's a real historical club, I remember back in the late 90s when I was in school, the Cougar Mania, and that club was really prominent in the media back then, and it's a club that I noticed in the very, very early days of my rugby league journey, and I think it was quite poignant really that they were the first big club, I suppose, that we've defeated down here in Coventry, and it was a really emotional day, and I'll never forget it. A lot of people might just think it's a normal game, but to us, I think, and me personally, rugby league really resonates into me and into what we're trying to do down here. It meant a lot to the players and a lot to the fans. And it's been tough the last 4 years. It really has. Like, we're operating on a not huge budget. We're working really hard all the time to bring more income into the club and become better and be able to develop the business as well as on the field. And when you put things into perspective, really, we shouldn't be beating these teams. We shouldn't be getting anywhere close to some of these teams. And yes, it is hard. And yes, there are days where you get beat heavily or you got to pick yourself up. But when that win comes, it's massive, and it really, really pulls and brings everyone together. And I think that's what's special about the Bears.
And I think another highlight for certainly a lot of fans and certainly something we got excited about on the podcast was the Bradford game here at the Butts. Not just the game, but the event that the club put on around the game itself. How proud were you that day of the showing that the club put on for the wider rugby league world?
Yeah, I actually don't take a lot of credit for that. I think that was something everyone bought into, and the fantastic volunteers that we've had and the people that were getting involved in the club and the fans coming and supporting us, and with a lot of people from around the Midlands that hadn't maybe seen us before, or people from Coventry that hadn't really come and visited us before, that brand of the Bradford Bulls brand helped draw in, and off the back of that, I think there was a huge amount of positives as well. It was a great day, in the height of the summer, a great time to have it on a Saturday and turn it into an event. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to make these games attractive to people, that there are an event that they might not have come to before or they might have experienced before. We've got to keep doing that. We've got to keep thinking outside the box. We've got to keep creating new and innovative ideas to grow the game and bring more people into the game and actually show them the beauty of it. Playing a big brand like Bradford down here in the Midlands, in Coventry, they're a brand that everyone recognises from from the 2000s, and they're a really historical, obviously a massively successful club in the Super League era, and people have bought into that and came on the day, and it was a great day. And on the field as well, the boys performed, and I think again that was massively, it added to the game, it added to the event, and it added to the rest of our season. It brought us a lot of confidence.
Mm-hmm. So, in terms of rounding off the 2018 season, then, if I asked you for 3 words to describe 2018,
the best yet, I think, would probably be the 3. I can't remember a season that's going to be as memorable, and obviously in the professional era of the club in the last 4 years, it's certainly been the best. We've learned a lot of lessons in these 4 years, and we just got to keep learning and keep developing and keep evolving. But we're not done yet. We've got to put that on the shelf and move on to the next. And I think that we've all got our eyes now set on pre-season and the new guys that have come into the club, and hopefully we'll bring some added bite to the Bears in 2019 and what we're going to try and do. And I'm thinking we want more upsets. We want to be we're out there to work hard and to fight for every inch. And I think the guys that we're bringing into the club are gonna do that. They're gonna go through hell in pre-season, and when they come out the end of that, hopefully coming into next year, we're gonna be ready and ready for the next step in the club's history.
Well, I wanted to ask you about new signings. Obviously, it's an exciting time of year, and I don't ask this question to force you to single people out, but are there any of the new signings in particular that you're really looking forward to seeing get on the pitch?
Some of the younger guys I think that have come in are going to be quite exciting to see how they go. I know young Mitch Shaw that's come in from Australia has been training the house down. He's only a young chap, 19 years old, but he's got huge amount of potential, but he's also got a fantastic attitude, and that's something that is, I think, is critical to how we work and as a club and how we are putting the squad together. I'm just off the top of my head, I suppose there's some other exciting younger guys that have come in. You've also got Nick Newman, who's coming from overseas, another young Australian with bags of potential. And then we've got another local halfback coming from Gloucestershire, Callum Merritt, who's shown loads of potential in the trial. And again, that was fantastic to see, that trial process has paid off and brought another young, exciting player into the club. We've got some more big signings, hopefully, coming up in the next couple of weeks that we can announce and excite the fans. I know there's certainly one in the pipeline that is really going to excite some of the fans, a returning player that can really make a massive impact. But yeah, in general, it's really exciting, and I love this time of year when we're sort of finalising things, and I love being able to go up to pre-season and have a look at the lads and meet the lads for the first time, and they're all really excited, and I think that's what makes it special.
And it's not just new signings, obviously. We've been able to re-sign quite a lot of the 2018 squad as well. And I know from talking to Tom, that's perhaps a luxury he's not been able to enjoy that many times in the League One journey. So that's going to be huge, isn't it? Having so many of the squad that came through last year and hit the ground running with those guys going into 2019.
Yeah, that's critical for our sustainability and for our growth. If we can hold on to those guys that are now getting a good amount of game time, guys like Peter Ryan and Kieran Sherratt and Chris Barrett, and Peter Ryan, for as an example, didn't play a huge amount last year at the start of the year, but then came into his own and started playing regularly. He's a really tough guy. learning all the time. He will only get better with experience, with game time, and if we can keep these guys together, the more games they get under their belt, the more established they become. And that's massively important for us to be able to develop as a club, and to be able to also, those guys, as they gain experience, they're passing that on, and they become more comfortable, and it builds strength in the club on the field. And I have to give a lot of credit to Tom and Mark Sloan and Alex Bryan and our medical team for all the work they put in as well, because how you look after the squad is really important, and something we take pride in is our environment, and people underestimate that sometimes. I think that's really important, and that's one of the reasons why people, players have stayed with the club. They've enjoyed the club and are coming on that journey with us.
Mm-hmm. And I guess just to finish off, that obviously 2019 on the horizon as we sit and record this, we're just awaiting the fixtures to come out. But one fixture we do know about is the fact that Leeds Rhinos are coming back to Coventry in January. I mean, you must be really excited to have them coming back a year later, and B, I guess, have you got a message for any fans who are thinking of maybe seeing if we can help break that attendance record again?
Yeah, it was great to get that call from Gary Hetherington to say that they were willing to come down again. There was a little bit of uncertainty around that at the end of the season. It's something I really wanted to do, but they've had some changes in their coaching setup, and I know that the new coaching setup was bought into that as well, and that's what was brilliant to hear, that David Ferner and Kevin Sinfield had thought it was a good idea to put our game in there as well. So we're really excited about that. There's going to be details of that released in the next few days. I'm just hoping that everyone buys into that as well. It'll be a free game for season ticket holders, so I would really encourage people to come, to have faith in us and what we're doing, and purchase a season ticket. They get that game for free. There's other things in the pipeline I'm working on at the moment that I think will add value to the season ticket as well. And obviously, we're trying to do things right, and we just want people to buy into us again and what we're doing, and stick with us. And hopefully we'll have some great moments ahead next year, and more of them like we did last year. And it's those moments that make the game special, and make us stand out as a club, and hopefully attract more supporters.
Great stuff. Well, I guess just to round this off, this is probably going to be the last time we hear from you in the year of 2018 on the podcast. So, final question: have you got just a closing message for fans, just as a final reflection on 2018, and perhaps a quick look ahead to 2019?
Just to thank everybody, all our fans, volunteers, staff, sponsors, everyone that supported us, and everyone that supported us in the city. It means so much to me personally, and to my family, that people support the club. We're a family-run club, and every ounce of support that people give us, be it their time or their hard-earned money, it's really massively appreciated, and we couldn't operate without it. And I just wish everybody a fantastic Christmas and New Year, and hopefully we'll see you early in January at the Leeds game.
Alan, thanks for your time as always, and speak to you next year.
No problem.
So huge thanks to Alan for joining us. It is very much appreciated. And the big signing he mentioned in that interview is Jack Morrison, who obviously has happened since we did that interview. He was being a bit coy about it because we didn't know when the interview was going to go out, but that was Jack Morrison, in case you were wondering, and we will come back to that later on. Right, Craig, pick another number. You've got
Let's
2, 3, 4
number
and 5.
5.
Number 5, okay. Let me get to number 5 on my list. Where is number 5? Okay, so 5, good choice. That is a look at some fixture news. So first of all, it's worth noting that the Bears are playing a game against Her Majesty's Prison Service's Rugby League Crusaders side. Now that's going to take place on the 16th of December, but it's not open to the public because of venue restrictions, what it being a prison and all of that. However, I think it's really great that the Bears can help spread the sport and help this team develop. It's no doubt going to be a tough game as well. It was ex-Bear Richie Hughes was involved in that session as well. But it's just great to see the Bears doing something a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think the guys there in the prison service have been trying to get a rugby league team off the ground for a while. I think they have played a few games in the past, but having a high profile game against the Bears is going to be great. It's perfect timing as well, sort of early on in pre-season to give the guys a run out, get them a bit more match fit. It ties in nicely with what's happening in pre-season, and a chance as well for Tom to have a look at the wider squad now.
Definitely, and get some combinations on the field running before Christmas. That will be a big plus for the Bears. So that's not it for fixture news. The big news, of course, is that the mighty Leeds Rhinos of Super League are coming back to Coventry in January. So they're going to play the Bears at the Butts Park Arena on Friday the 18th of January, kick-off 7:45. An entry for that is included in your season ticket if you snap up your season ticket. And also there's going to be hospitality for that game, £45 hospitality ticket, which includes a pre-match meal, your match ticket, programme and free parking. Now, of course, we kicked off 2018 against the Rhinos and we ended up setting what was then a club record attendance. I mean, it's just great to have them coming back, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Last year was fantastic. Friday night under the lights, packed stadium, which was at that time, as you say, the biggest crowd the Bears had. Hospitality was bonkers. The number of people were in there that night. The bars were drank pretty much dry. So there was a lot of fun. There's a
challenge for next year.
Yeah, there was a lot of fun being had, and a good Leeds following as well. And a big following from local people. A chance to see some Leeds Rhinos players, and at the time it was announced that it was a fairly young squad that Leeds brought down with them, but actually about 5 or 6 of them played regularly for Leeds throughout the whole of last season, and a couple of the lads went on to play for England Knights at the end of the season. So, it is a real chance to see Leeds in action and see up and coming players and one or two of their big name stars as well.
And last year, of course, we did sneak a quick interview with Rob Burrow. I think this year the challenge should be either Kevin Sinfield or David Ferner.
Yeah,
if they're going
absolutely.
to be there, we'll track them down.
Yeah, I'm massively looking forward to it. It'd be lovely if we could get a bigger crowd this year. I think anyone that came last year that enjoyed it, start spreading the word, get people down, get them supporting the Bears. Let's get a big crowd down there and let's have a really enjoyable night.
Definitely. Now that is not it for fixtures either. Oh no, we've also got the full list of Betfred League One fixtures for 2019, which you can find at coventrybears.com and on all of the Bears social media channels. But some highlights are as follows. So we kick off the season proper at home to West Wales Raiders on Sunday the 17th of February, and then we're at home again the week after to Newcastle Thunder. That's on Sunday the 24th of February. Of course, all of these are subject to change, but as it stands at the moment, these are the dates. Challenge Cup round 3 when the Bears come in, that's due to take place on the 10th of March. We've got Good Friday, we're at home to London Scholars, that's the 19th of April, and our final regular home game will be against Oldham on Sunday the 1st of September. What do you think to that as a fixture list? It's obviously it's a bit of a shorter list this year because there are fewer teams in the league, but I think good chance to really lay down a mark with those first couple of games in February.
Yeah, a couple of home games to start with. It's going to be a massive game against West Wales to start with. Both teams will be wanting to get a win. Newcastle Thunder, many people's favourites. Chance for the Bears to lay down a marker and give them a good game and hopefully come away with a result there. I think looking at all the home fixtures and when they are, and I think there's a real good chance the Bears are going to get some really good results at home this year. There's going to be some big games along the way. The one fixture that stands out to me, though, August the 24th, Challenge Cup final. I think we should start booking it now.
Okay, confident. I like it. I take it you mean booking it from a point of view that the Bears are going to be there,
Yeah,
and not just a jolly to London.
But yeah, I say that jokingly, but it would be lovely to get another Challenge Cup run again this year. Getting to the 5th round last year was fantastic. So
I'm glad you've explained that as a joke, because we are sitting in the dark recording this podcast, so I generally can't tell what your facial expression is. Good, but as I say, full fixtures are up on the Bears socials and on the Bears website as well. Of course, some of the dates and times are subject to change, as fixture lists always are, but generally at home on Sundays, 3:00 kickoff. Get your season ticket. Okay, that's 1 and 5 sorted, Craig. We've got 2, 3 and 4 left. What do you want next?
let's go for 2.
2. Okay, so 2 means we're going in on the list of re-signings. So I think one of the most exciting things as we head into 2019 is just how many of the 2018 squad have signed up for another round. And I know Tom is very grateful that he's starting with a much thicker squad than he would have done on previous seasons. So we've mentioned these towards the end of the regular season, the ones that we knew about. So I'll just read through the list of re-signings. We probably don't need to touch on them too much because they've been regulars on our show in terms of being mentioned over the last year and a bit. But I'll just go through them and you can offer some words of wisdom at the end, Craig, as to what you think. So the full list of re-signings as we sit here recording this right now: Hayden Freeman, Errol Carter, Cam Pearce-Paul, who is technically a new signing but also a re-signing. He's properly signed for the Bears. He's not on loan anymore, so that's excellent. Reece Rance, Chris Barrett, Kieran Sherratt, Dan Gover, Peter Ryan, James Mason, Harry Kaufman, Ben Gray, Cameron Stewart and Dante Morley-Samuels. That's a pretty
quite
good
some
list,
list,
isn't it?
yeah. I mean, you talk about players that put in good performances last season and put in good performances consistently, and pretty much everyone on that list you would say they have. I think the signing of Cam Pearce-Paul on a permanent contract, or on a contract rather than a loan, is a massive signing. He was superb all of last season and actually got better. Looked amazing from the start, but actually got better and better as the season went on. That's a fantastic.
That right edge with Reece Rance as well was really powerful.
Him and Reece worked amazingly together. I think what's brilliant, the Bears have always re-signed a number of players every year, but never have they re-signed this many players. And they're all young players. They're getting more and more games under their belt. They're going to get better. They've already shown such amazing promise, and they've already shown how good they are, and they'll be ready to make the next step. And Tom has had the benefit of working with these guys, some of them for more than one season, but most of them for over a season now, and getting them back for pre-season, getting them ready for next year. It's quite exciting stuff, really, to see such a long list of re-signings.
It really is. Okay, now you've got 3 and 4 left. Now I don't want to influence your decision, but 3 now would make for a much better listening experience than going into 4 now. But it's still up to you. Would you
Let's
like
go
3
with
or
3
4?
then, yeah.
Okay, 3. Good. Excellent choice, because 3, that is our roundup of new signings following on from the re-signings. So, again, we'll go through this full list as has been released at the time of recording. Lots of new talent to get excited about here. As is always the way with these new signings things, we don't have that much information to be going on, but we can still get excited anyway. So, in no particular order, some new signings for 2019 for the Coventry Bears are Nick Newman, who is an Australian halfback; Mitch Shaw, who is also Australian, he's a hooker; Jacob Jones, back rower, he's a Midlander, he's come from the London Broncos and he has played for the Bears before. John Sipawa, I hope I've pronounced that correctly. He's a second row or a centre. He's come through the Broncos Academy. He's playing for Coventry University as well. Leon Harbour, he's a loose forward from Wigan. He is one of Dante's mates and he's an England Students International. Kadeem Williams, he's a centre, ex-Hemel Stags and All Golds. Ewan Tiernan, who is a prop playing for Coventry University, who I think we will probably talk about in a minute because he's quite an interesting story. He hadn't played rugby league until the start of this season, which says everything about what sort of talent he has. Nathan Conroy, he's a very experienced hooker, ex-Bradford Bulls and Keighley Cougars. Callum Merritt, halfback, ex-All Golds. Elliot Hall, England Students utility back, used to play for the Scholars. In fact, he scored against the Bears for the Scholars last year. Yeah. And the big one, in many respects, Jack Morrison.
The return of the king.
The return of the king. That's my exact notes. Craig, I mean, I think for me, the names that jump out there, I mean, Ewan Tiernan, the prop who'd never played rugby league before, comes to university, of course, where Tom is the coach, makes such an impact in his first couple of games that Tom wants him in the Bears squad. And I saw him warm up for the Coventry University team and was impressed with him. Nathan Conroy is obviously a standout name on that list, and the two Australian guys, it's nice to keep an Antipodean accent in the place now that Gertch has gone home. Anyone else that you're particularly excited about? Obviously, it's a given that we're all excited about Jack Morrison.
Obviously, getting Jack back. He's on his day. He is the best prop in League One, and if the Bears can get him in good shape and get him firing, that's going to be a massive signing for the Bears. Really going to be a huge signing. He's always loved the club. He said before he loves the club, and him coming back, the fans are going to absolutely love watching him again. I think Nathan Conroy's an amazing signing. I think probably 2-3 years ago the Bears wouldn't have got someone of his caliber coming to play for them. As an expansion club, it's so difficult to sign experienced players. He's going to make a massive difference at hooker, and and it's no disrespect to anyone that's played in that position before, but certainly an upgrade on possibly what the Bears have had before in that position. The two Aussie lads, I've seen YouTube videos of them. You're hard to tell from that, apart from that they look amazing. Watching them on YouTube, but
I heard very good reports about them, about their interactions with the club so far, and good things about them.
And the Bears have got a really good relationship with all of the Aussie guys that have come to play for the Bears. They've all had an input and contributed in some way to the story of the Bears, and I'm sure these lads will as well.
Definitely. And what's great to see as well in that list of names, obviously the two Aussie guys can't really be classed as Midlands or local, and Nathan Conroy is obviously more of a northern-based player, but everybody else on that list fits in with this 28, the ethos that the Bears sort of implemented in 2018 of local Midlands-based players, young players, a lot of university players here. So it's exciting. It's keeping that young squad going and building on what the Bears started so brilliantly in 2018. So I think lots of reasons to be excited there. And again, another reason to come down to the Leeds game, see what these new guys are like, and see how they might hit the ground running against West Wales in mid-February. I think we should also mention as well a couple of fan favourites who have gone on to other clubs for next season, but had such an impact in their time at the club that it's worth just saying a big thank you and a big good luck to both of them. So we'll see Ben Stead again next season because he's staying in League One. He's gone off to North Wales Crusaders, while Jason Bass is actually making a step up to the Championship as he's signed for the York City Knights. Obviously the Bears are going to miss those two players, but we send them away with only good wishes and huge
absolutely
thanks.
I mean, the contribution, particularly Jason Bass with the years that he was at the Bears, still young. I think he's ready. He's got the experience. He's played so many games in League One now. He's got the experience and, of course, the ability to make that step up into the Championship. And I really do wish him well. I really hope that he makes a good go of it at York and goes on to better things. Ben Stead as well, he was a fantastic player last season. The fans loved him. Best kicker in the league. Apparently North Wales, one of their songs is "We've got the best kicker in the league," so I guess they probably do now. I really do wish him well. He's got a lovely family, and they travelled far and wide supporting him last year, and it'll be good to see him when the Bears meet Crusaders.
Yes, just hope he doesn't get too many shots at goal.
No.
Okay, so we're left with number 4. And number 4 is another interview. This time it's an interview with Steve from Toe to Toe Gym, where we are sat right now. He is the man putting this team through their paces and getting them in shape for pre-season. So Craig, you caught up with him and Bears assistant coach Alex Brown earlier to find out exactly what's needed to get a bunch of Bears ready for the next season of rugby league. And here's what they had to say.
So I'm here with Alex, assistant coach of the Bears, and Steve from Toe to Toe Boxing Academy, Boxing and MMA Academy. That's quite a mouthful. I can never get that right. We wanted to come here and do a bit of let people have a bit of a feel for what pre-season involves. I think we're into week 2, of pre-season. There was some footage on Facebook and Twitter last week of the guys working out here. They all looked absolutely shattered, and we thought we'd come down and just speak to the people behind it and have a chat. So, Steve, thanks very much for joining me, mate. Great to be here. I could see you setting everything up before we got here, getting it all ready for the lads. So what sorts of things are they going to be doing tonight, and how is that going to get them ready for the start of the season?
Okay, yeah, so all the stuff is mainly functional movements, footwork, things like battle ropes, box jumps, ball slamming, hammer slamming, really stuff like that. So
yeah, I mean, it's an amazing setup in here. It's a really, really lively gym. Do you get other sports teams coming down as well occasionally?
We have a couple of football teams come in, but it's mainly just all the boxing and MMA lads, really.
Yeah, I suppose in some way, one of the sayings in rugby league is that if you win the wrestle, then you win the game. So I guess you're doing a lot of work then, focusing the lads on grappling and things like that as well.
Yeah, we're trying to do a bit of grappling with them, mainly just to tire them out, really, because they're all big old guys, and yeah, they got to get each other off and keep each other down. So yeah.
So, and how long's the session going to last here tonight? Is it?
It's an hour long.
An hour of intense
So it's a
work.
bit of a warm up. Then split into 2 groups. Half go through full body circuit to tire them out, while the other group go through some wrestling, some wrestling stuff and groundwork. Again, when they're tired mainly, which resembles game type situations where they're working over sets of defence or repetitively grapple in every single tackle. So
and also try and have a bit of fun with it as well, because sometimes pre-season training can be a bit boring. You can do the same thing, but this gives it just a different element, different environment.
That's an abiding memory I have of pre-season, is dreading turning up to it, hating doing it, just wanting to get on with it, start throwing a ball around, but instead you're running backwards and forwards, and no one really enjoys it. So this sort of training is absolutely perfect for the guys.
The thing with this, like when we were doing sessions last year as an extra one, the boys looked like they were at breaking point and about to start crying, but at the end of the session they're all smiling and they've had a good laugh, and they're motivated, and they really get something from it. And there's players walking up to me last week saying, Jesus, that was hard, but I loved it. It was just totally different than what I'm used to doing in pre-season. It mixed it up, and it challenged me in different ways and made me think a bit about what I'm doing as well.
So, I mean, last season, I remember everyone remarking how fit the guys looked at the start of the season, and throughout as well. The team really had that extra few minutes of stamina that they didn't have the year before, and particularly the big guys lasted much longer, didn't they, when they were on the field?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, last year we were doing an extra session down here and a midweek session with the local lads, and luckily for us, most of the big lads were the local lads, so they were getting in the extra sessions, and we were doing stuff like footwork drills and bits like that, weren't we? So working on their coordination and taking that really from MMA and the boxing stuff, and Steve really got the best out of the lads on that, and you could see, the likes of John Aldred and Dan Gover and stuff, where they made strides forward last season, and Peter Ryan as well. And it was all down to, well, not all down to, but part of the stuff we were doing here has really helped them develop as players, I think.
Yeah, and Steve, so if any teams are interested in coming down here, or anyone just individually wants to come down here and train, how do they get down here? Probably a good idea just to say where you're situated and how people can get signed up.
Yeah, okay. You can look at the website. It's Toe-to-Toe Boxing and MMA Academy, or we're at Burnsall Road, Canley, in Coventry.
Thank you very much, Steve. It's been a real pleasure and massively interesting for me to see how this is all set up. And just about to watch the lads go through their paces. There'll be a few guys going through a bit of pain now, I'm
pain
sure.
Time.
Right.
Pain time, yeah.
Right, there we go. That great interview with Alex and Steve there, Craig. And again, just reinforces that how fun and also scary this pre-season stuff looks. But part of me would like to have a go, but most of me wouldn't.
Yeah, I think I think Alan Robinson had a go last year for one session and never came back. I have heard rumours that one of the coaches did a session as well and threw up in the car park afterwards. So yeah, it is tough going. But as Alex says, this sort of training, it's so intense. It really gets them supporting each other. It gets the lads mentally prepared because, you got to keep going. You got to have that stamina. And when you go to those dark places where you're really struggling to carry on, you need to have that extra strength, and that's what these sessions will do.
Indeed. Well, I think that just about concludes this bonus off-season show. So thank you so much for listening, and of course we will be back with regular episodes from early 2019 onwards. We'll be getting ready for that next year of rugby league. I will say that again. We'll be getting back ready for that next year of rugby league in Coventry. I guess really all that's left to add is to wish you all listening a Merry Christmas. You too, Craig.
Yeah, thank you, mate.
Anything else you feel like we need to add?
No, I'm just, as I said, just looking forward to a nice, relaxing Christmas and then getting stuck into the rugby league season shortly afterwards.
Definitely. So don't forget, find us at covbearspodcast.com. Find us in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, basically. And if you're feeling merry, then tweet us some jokes to @CovBearsPodcast, and we'll like them or ignore them, depending on how good they are. And we'll see you in 2019.